So YouTube, it took some time, but yesterday I finally got a chance to watch episode 1 and 2 of season 8 of Game of Thrones. And I'm planning to do a video where I ramble about all the thoughts I have about those two episodes. And if you have not watched them already, I'm going to spoil you like crazy in this video, so don't watch this video if you have not watched season 8, episode 1 and 2 of Game of Thrones. Fair warning given. Well, I really like the opening scene of this season, where it reminds you a lot about the first it reminds you a lot about the first episode of the first season, where the king and queen comes to King Robert Baratheon and his queen and family comes to Winterfell. Now there is another queen coming to Winterfell, Queen Daenerys, with Jon Snow, who the Northerners still think should be king in the North. And it's made so that you see, it really reminds you, and I like that feeling of they bring it full circle. Another kind of cool thing in this season is that, well, Cersei and Qyburn and Euron Greyjoy and Cersei's zombie bodyguards, they are down in King's Landing and doing their scheming and plotting and stuff. But all the other characters have gathered at Winterfell and are now at the same place for the first time in the whole TV show. And I like that too. It's like all these characters that we have followed all over the world, they are now, their fates and paths are now joined up at Winterfell to defend the living against the dead. And they set the scene like with the conflicts that exist between all these characters. Sansa Stark don't trust Daenerys. Sansa and the other Northerners are upset that Jon have kneeled to Daenerys. They still want to have their king in the North. Sam talks is quite positive from what I can say to Daenerys first, but then she tells him that she killed his father and brother. And even if Sam didn't have the best relationship with his father, he don't seem to take it very well. He then tells Jon what he and Bran have figured out, that Jon is actually a Targaryen and a rightful heir to the throne. And Jon seems to be like conflicted with how he wants to handle this, because he's in love with Daenerys and he realizes she will be upset, so to speak. And when I watched that, I was like, Jon, wait until after the battle before you start making a mess and talking with Daenerys about this. When you have defeated the army of the dead, the Night King, what of that, then you can have a discussion about who is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. But wait until after the battle. And he didn't. Almost, but no, he didn't. So we have this long sequence with the night before the big battle. We have see them prepare and everything, and people and different characters talk and so on. And Daenerys meets Jon down in the crypt in front of Lyanna Stark, Lord Eddard Stark's sister, and the one we now know is Jon's real mother. And Jon tells her about this. And she is like, well, your brother and your best friend now suddenly have figured out that you have the rightful claim to my throne. You don't find that suspicious? And you can really tell that she's not happy. She's really not happy about it. And when I watched that, I'm seriously thinking about if Daenerys is going to kill Jon. Like when they have defeated the Night King, if they do. They hope to lure the Night King to the Godswood with Branna's bait and then ambush him there with the dragons and so on. But when they have done that, I could really see Daenerys telling her dragons to like burn Jon alive or stab him in the back, because I mean, mostly we have seen Daenerys as a fairly good character, fairly moral character, but her final goal of all of this have been to take the Iron Throne that she feels belongs to her. And we have seen several times that she can be pretty brutal and ruthless when she wants to achieve her goals. So yeah, maybe we see Daenerys kill her lover Jon Snow. Or maybe she tries and he kills her back instead. We don't know. Now, as I said, the end of the second episode was a lot like the night before the big battle. Everyone is like collecting themselves. Most of them believe they are going to die. It's like a desperate stand to try to stop the dead. But most of them don't think they are gonna make it. And the episode ends with the dawn arriving, and we see the dead come towards Winterfell. And so we can expect on Monday that there will be a big battle between the Night King and the Daenerys, Jon Snow and company. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest, I feel that this thing with the Night King and the White Walkers is the least interesting part of the whole story. It's very much like, yeah, they are bad guys and they want to kill everyone. And here are the good guys who want to save everyone. And for me, Game of Thrones, the interesting thing about Game of Thrones is how nuanced things are. That there are not only good and bad guys, but there are people who want different things and are ready to do different things to accomplish their goals. For example, I really loved the Battle of the Blackwater, the Siege of King's Landing, because when I watch that scene, I can't decide who I'm like hoping shall win. I mean, I like Tyrion, and he's organizing the defense of King's Landing, and he's a decent fellow, and he believes that it's important to save the city from Stannis. But on the other hand, that means he's protecting Joffrey, who is like the worst king imaginable. And if you look at Stannis at that point, we see that, yes, he's a pretty brutal person, but he takes duty very seriously, and from what we know then, he is the rightful heir to the throne, because Joffrey is not King Robert's true son. So Stannis is the rightful king. He is a man who takes duty and justice and things like that very seriously, which could be pretty good. His advisor Davos Seaworth, the Onion Knight, is also a very nice character, or I think, very sympathetic. But on the other hand, he have Melisandre, the Red Woman, advising him, and we have already seen that she's like telling him, and he's doing as she says, to burn people alive, and they use what Varys the Spider calls black magic, dark magic, and I agree, it is very dark magic to kill Stannis' brother, Renly Baratheon. So do I really want that guy to take the throne? But do I really want Joffrey to keep the throne? And I really don't want Sir Davos to get hurt or killed at that point, and I really don't want Tyrion Lannister to get hurt or killed. So I'm like torn between the two sides, and I can't really decide who I hope shall win. And in this battle with the White Walkers, you don't have that nuance. They are just the evil and the good. And that's, for me, not as interesting. So what I really hope is that in the next episode, episode 3, they will deal with this whole Night King question and finish that in a nice big battle with some cool effects, and then go on to tie up all the more interesting storylines and conflicts. In my mind, the more interesting. So that's what I hope for, and let's see if I get my wish. Peace out.